looks like we're about to start. I do have a bit of knowledge about this, so as we start off, the run itself starts off the same regardless. So you've got obviously the flowy cutscene. So I'll go a little bit in detail about the mashing that runners are going to do here. So usually the common method of mashing used is what we call piano mashing. So piano mashing involves hitting 4 particular keys in a certain pattern, in a certain rhythm, if you will, which are the Z or Z, X, the right shift, and enter keys. And it usually goes Z, X, enter, shift in that order, basically because the Z and enter keys advance the text boxes, and the X and shift keys advance the text within the text boxes. So it looks like there's a little bit of a desync issue with the stream at the moment. Hopefully that gets resolved. Otherwise, yeah, the ruins, first part of the ruins that the runners are in now is fairly basic in that it's just a walkthrough on how to get through encounters and obviously puzzles and whatnot. So coming up on Samuel's screen, you're going to see the first frogget. This doesn't actually count towards the kill counter, but as you can see, getting a 20 hit on that, you want to get 20 or more. Even if you get a good hit, the damage roll can be a bit randomized. So anything less than 20 and you don't actually get to kill the frogget because Toriel scares it away. In the room after next, obviously we'll see where the first part of Ruins grinding starts. So, long corridor, this is the longest room of the game, or one of the longest rooms and one of the most challenging rooms. There we go. And we've just been synced up, so that's good. So if I remember correctly, Samuel actually mashes using a control, or there's some aspects of control play in their game, I don't remember exactly what. So both runners now starting the first half grind. So you'll notice with Ruins and with Snow being the other major area that the grind is split into 2 parts. First half you're mainly going to be getting one of 2 encounters, either a frogget or a Whimsun. And as you can see, both runners have already gotten one of each. It's a 66% chance to get a frogget, 33% for a Whimsun. And with froggets, there's actually a attack pattern that comes up that you can skip, as you just saw on Samuel's screen. So with the frog skip, there's a 40% chance of getting a frog skip and a 60% chance of not getting it. So optimally runners will want Whimsuns since Whimsuns are a 1-hit KO, but if they get froggets, they would want to get a frog skip. Link getting a bit lucky there with that first turn, so if you actually do insta-hit the frogget first, thinking it's a Whimsun, you can get a low enough damage roll that you can actually get a 3-turn potentially. But getting a high damage roll on the second hit saved it, so... In the first half we try to grind to 13 kills, and that's ideally because as we progress through the ruins and the first part of grinding, the more kills we have against our name, the longer it takes to get each encounter, and going into the second half we will be level 3. Obviously it'll take longer to get kills, but we also get multiple kills per encounter on average. So if we actually go to second half on 13, or in rare cases 12, we actually get multiple encounters, which makes it faster and more optimal to actually do that. So it looks like Samuel's getting good RNG at the moment, Link not so much, but this is early game, so anything can happen still. So I believe Samuel's on their 10th kill going for their 11th, and I think Link might be on their 9th? Yeah. Samuel getting really good RNG here, they're off to a good start. That just goes to show you the power of Whimsuns in this early grind, because obviously Samuel getting a couple of encounters ahead, and another Whimsun there, so that's good. Oh no, there's the sign skip. So what Samuel's just done there is, if you actually talk to the sign in that room, you actually skip the third tutorial phone call. And they get a frog at the end, so it's not going to be too bad. Obviously, getting the frog skip helps. It can be a 5-11 mid-grind, and then transitioning to the second half. So you'll see in a little bit why we say the second half is better to do the way we do it, just because obviously we're getting multiple encounters. Froggets and multiples are still 2 turns, however, because we're getting more than one encounter, or more than one enemy per encounter. Oh, see, I'm getting a single mold there, that's unfortunate. Single mold is the worst encounter you get in the second half, because obviously it's the same as a normal frogget in the first half. Getting a triple there, so that's actually interesting now, because Samuel would need a triple mold to actually clear the ruins encounters in total. And usually you don't really want to get an all mold ruins because it's usually the slowest encounter you can get. Even getting 2 triples. So like getting a double frogget to start with, they want to get another frogget whims in and then a triple mold to clear. Samuel just attacked and missed the okay, never mind, it was just a little hiccup there. Okay, so Link getting a frog whim, so he's actually making up a fair bit of time here. The trade-off is they're both gonna need the triple mold to actually clear ruins. Okay, Link going for a heal there, which is surprising. But obviously being on low health from all the frog skips, you don't really want to take too many chances. So both runners looking for a triple mold here, and if they get it, they'll probably be... Okay, Samuel getting the triple mold, Link getting the single, that's unfortunate. So that's going to be an extra encounter for Link. However, if he does kill this quickly enough and does get an encounter quick enough, there might not be as much time loss, especially if he gets a frog whim, but looking at it, obviously Samuel's going to be finished with 3 turns on this encounter. So Samuel actually getting good RNG here. This is almost going to be a sub 8 clear, which is looking like probably like a 10-30, 10-40 tutorial clear. So we don't want to see a single mold come up on Link's screen at the moment. So they're 18, and if they get a single here, it's bad because... Okay, they got a double, so that's good. Because getting a single at 18 is actually the worst thing you can have happen, because if you kill a single at 18 and go to 19, you have 1 kill left, which means the step counter is going to be at its maximum to get the next encounter. And as you saw on Samuel's screen, they're getting the but nobody came message coming up. So what that actually means is basically they've satisfied the kill count for that area, and they can move on to the next boss in that area, so in this case it would be tutorial. So we saw runes being less than favourable to Link, but again, this being early game, obviously a lot can happen later on in the run. However, given the time difference between the 2 runners, it's going to be hard to say. So you'll notice Samuel will not go for the pie here. I don't know if Link will, but some runners do tend to choose to go for the pie here as a backup heal. Obviously, the higher skill runners obviously not choosing to go for the pie because there's an item we get later on that essentially acts like the pie and that it's almost a full heal. And we obviously can do a skip to acquire another item at the same time as the noodles. Going for the pie loses a little bit of time as well, as opposed to just getting the noodles and presuming runners go for the pan skip or not. So the good thing about this run is we don't have to worry about getting hands tutorial. So as you can see, instant one shot. So Link about to go into the basement as well. As Samuel about to finish off ruins, and I think this is going to be like about a 10:25, 10:30. Also, good thing to note is all the bosses here have really long cutscenes after they've been beaten. So, with the exception of Mettaton Neo. Okay, I was slightly off. It'll probably be about a 10:35, 10:36. I don't know. 10:38 for Samuel. That's not too bad.
That's a wonderful idea.
So, fun fact with this game is a lot of the sound bites that you can hear, like the flowery dialogue there, and obviously coming up with the Sans voice bite, is that there's a lot of stuff that's been quote unquote sampled within the game. So, obviously, Flowey's line there being taken from a McDonald's commercial from the 60s, and until recently, which I didn't even know about myself, the Sans voice bite is actually taken from a partial clip of a line from Patrick Star. So if you hear me go, maybe it's the way you're dressed, then yeah, that's the line where it's taken from. But yeah, memeing aside, Link finishing ruins as well, a little bit behind, but again, early game, anything can happen. For those that actually did witness the race between Link and Duke Firebird the other day, can prove testament to the fact that we do have close races from time to time. And because this category is fairly RNG heavy, a lot of the times you do get situations where one runner might get considerably less favorable RNG than the other, but I mean, that's how it is sometimes with this run. So coming up, we're going to see the Tough Glove being equipped, and there's two reasons we do that. So the first reason is the Tough Glove actually deals more damage than the stick, and for this area we actually want to use the Tough Glove. And the second is we do have some encounters that we want to use the stick on to basically lower their defense completely in order to one-shot them. Well, actually there's only the one encounter really, but it's more so optimal to use the Tough Glove here than the stick, because obviously, you know, you're not really losing much time, well, you're actually gaining a bit of time using the Tough Glove rather than the stick. So no phone call in this room for Samuel. So if it were possible to predict getting ice caps in the first half, it would actually be more viable to grind a little bit in the first half, but again with Snowden we do all our grinding in the second half mostly, just because of the nature of getting multiple encounters, which again is faster than getting singles. However, the exception being the fact that we have to deal with Jerry. And Jerry essentially delays the attack patterns by a couple of seconds per turn. So it's actually less optimal to have Jerry's, but given that it's more likely to get a chill drag than an ice cap, it's actually about the same. It's just grind at the end of Snowden rather than more so at the first half. So we have more puzzles coming up, which it's interesting to note with this category. It's our character just doesn't seem to care about the puzzles. They just walk straight through them, just not really paying them any mind. Samuel doing a bit of memeing there, trying to uncover the. Oh, and they get a triple there, so that's not too bad. Obviously it's a little bit slower, but then again, it's So I think they were actually trying to manipulate movement a little bit as well and do a little bit more movement before grinding in that one spot. To get the encounter to come up a little bit faster. So I'll mention this now since I've been through it. You'll notice that the runners, when they're grinding for encounters, they'll tend to walk up and down in the same spot. Basically what that is it's called wall grinding, or in some cases wall humping. How that works is we hold up and down and our character actually goes up to the topmost wall in that area, and they just happen to walk in that same position. So it looks like both runners getting a triple on the end of first half grind, so that's not too bad. So, side note here, you want to kill Doggeressa first, because if you kill Doggerme first, then Doggeressa's attack and defense actually goes up, and she becomes harder to kill. Whereas if you kill Doggeressa first, Doggerme's defense and attack go down, and the opposite happens, and you can actually one-shot him. So again, good thing with this, we don't have to worry about puzzles, so we can just proceed uninhibited. So now we have Ice Puzzle Skip coming up, so obviously we don't have to do Ice Puzzle here because we're actually having the puzzle already done for us. So coming up on Samuel's screen, we have the last dog encounter of the area with Greater Dog. And this is actually an instance where being at level 8 will save a turn, because if we do max damage on both turns, we actually get almost a 2-turn, but because we're only level 7, we don't do quite enough damage to clear Greater Dog in 2 turns. That's where there's a bit of discussion about whether or not you want to grind early in the first half to get a few extra encounters or not. I guess the risk is you get more chill drags, which is 2 turns, it's still slower. Also, another little fun fact about this room is you actually need to transition out of the room before you start grinding. Basically, because if you actually stay in the room and start grinding there, Sans essentially acts as a blocker and doesn't allow any encounters to spawn in. So obviously, I don't know what Samuel's doing movement-wise, but it's definitely interesting. Okay, so they're getting a triple first, so you want to get doubles early on and then triples later, simply because with Jerry being there, it takes a bit longer for each attack animation to progress. Obviously, having 3 encounters, it means it takes 3 turns, which means you've got 2 turns of extra thing happening because of Jerry. Also, another thing to note is the runners are not killing Jerry just yet, if they have to at all. The reason for that is because Jerry is an interesting being in this game. We don't have to worry about sparing him and aborting the Genocide ending, just because basically he always comes up in every encounter, so it's not like he's a unique being in the sense that he only comes up once and you have to kill him then. So Jerry actually has high defense, which is another reason why I just try to not have to kill him early. So I believe at the moment Samuel's at 9. They'll be at 10 after this. I believe Link is going to be at about 6 or 7. I should have put my counter up, but then I can only have the counter on for one person. But I believe Samuel's at 10 at the moment, so I'll focus on that for now. So there's some discussion as to whether you want to grind up to 12 or 10 in getting singles. I don't think there's too much of a difference either way. I think it's just beneficial to get less encounters early on in terms of the numbers because it's faster. So, assuming Samuel's at 12 kills, they'll need to get 2 triple kills now, or 2 triple encounters rather, to clear without having a Jerry kill. I believe in the 4 o'clock race between Silver and Wizard Babes, we did have our first non-Jerry kill out of 4 races, so hopefully... Oh. I have just jinxed it here. So Samuel's going to need a triple now and hope that they do get the triple, so that way they would have to kill Jerry, but it would be more optimal than only killing 1 encounter and then having to flee and get another, since the time to get the encounter actually goes up the more you grind. So there's not really too much else I need to go on here, so just waiting on both runners to actually finish their grinding. Again, I lost track on Link's end, so I don't know if they'll have to kill Jerry or not. Looks like Samuel might not have to kill Jerry here. I think they would have got an extra encounter beforehand, but if not, then well, we'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, no, so Samuel did not have to kill Jerry, so that is our second non-Jerry kill, and it looks like Link is killing Jerry, so a bit unfortunate there. Samuel trying to go for the igloo overflow there, one of 2 instances in the game where you can actually overflow. Yeah, it's one of 2 glitches in this run. The second one comes up in the start of Hotland when you enter lab. However, under normal... Ew, glitches, I know, right? So, Papyrus is dead. Let's get our Crab Brave memes going. Sorry, it's having a little bit of unpacking at the moment, so that's why I'm back and forth muting and trying to limit the background noise. But yeah, so we see Papyrus dead on Link's screen as well. So there's going to be a 23-15 Papyrus for Sam. And this is probably going to be a 23-35. No, it'll probably be a 23-40, I think, for Link. Because, again, as always, all the bosses take forever to die in this game. Actually, maybe closer to a 23-45. So there's about 30 seconds at the moment between these 2, so going into Waterfall is a little bit less RNG factor, considering there's less encounters. Well, I suppose comparative to Waterfall, but Snowden and Ruins is probably about the same, but... So... The first 2 encounters that come up in Waterfall, the Aaron and Washua, are both scripted. However, in most cases we see runners either flee both of them, or, until recently, they actually do go for the Washua kill. The reason why some runners tend to go for the Washua kill... Nice memeing there from Sam. So... Oh, Samuel going for the Aaron kill, interesting. So the reason we normally go for the Washua kill instead is it's actually slightly faster because of the damage range. But the reason we go for an early encounter here is because we get 1 scripted double Moldsmore coming up. Samuel going for the Washua as well. Interesting. But the reason we go for the early encounter is we get the scripted double mold before getting the shoes, which is within our range. And then we get an encounter after, and the encounter after, if we get another double mold, puts us at 5, which actually saves us an encounter later on down the road when we're grinding again in the second half. Looks like Link is going for the Washua. I'll admit I've thought about going for both Aaron and Washua, but I've never actually seen a runner implement it like that. If the stream actually saves time on it, because it does, then yeah. So it looks like neither of the runners are actually getting hit in the Spears 1 cutscene, which is good. So with Spears 1, you'll notice there was a little bit of movement manipulation in terms of where the spears were tracking. In the second Spears cutscene, you'll notice there's a lot more of that happening. So in a little bit, we're going to see Samuel picking up the ballet shoes, but first they're going to grind for an extra encounter, which is scripted. It normally comes up by default, but we're forcing it a little earlier than normal because of the way we actually want to grind for another encounter after the shoes. I'm just going to have to dip out for a little bit. So, sorry about that, I had to take care of some stuff IRL. So it looks like Samuel's going for the Aaron kill here, so they got to watch for Aaron by the looks of it. Oh, and it looks like we did see stick drop, which is kind of a meme in the community, but it happens. So Link getting a single Washua there, which is actually the second best encounter to get outside of the double mold. So, ranking wise it goes double mold, single Washua, single Aaron, oh, not single, Aaron Washua, then single Aaron. So if you get a single Aaron, usually most runners tend to flee it because it's just faster. So at this point, Samuel is sitting at, I believe, 7 kills, which means going into the second half after Temmie, they'll be at 9. So it's actually still fairly close at the moment, considering the only difference is, I believe, Link is about 2 kills behind because they didn't kill the first Aaron and they only got a single in the second encounter after the shoes. So in the screen that Link's in, you actually notice that if you hold down up, down, and right as you move through that room, it actually gives you a little speed boost. Again, it's still probably somewhere around 20 to 30 seconds between these two at the moment, so it's still fairly close. So I'll say it was a 29.42 for the first spear to come up. Actually, it's probably a lot closer than that now. So it's actually about 10 seconds at the moment, but keeping in mind that Samuel's technically a full counter ahead of Link at this point. So remember when I said before about the movement manipulation in Speed 1? So here we're actually trying to force the speed to predict where we're going to go by holding down certain movement keys. And obviously possibly trying to sneak through, but it didn't work. So we're actually going to force the space to come up in a pattern that we can easily avoid rather than having it be completely random. And now we're entering the second half of Waterfall. So, get a little cutscene here, which most runners know who it is that's talking, but obviously I'm not going to spoil just yet, even though they don't actually technically appear in this run. So there is one more visual trick that comes up here, and we see Samuel getting it nicely. So we have ourselves a floaty boy walking on water, or as it's sometimes often called, Jesus Frisk, and it looks like Link gets it as well. So we have a double blessed run, or in this case you could just say it's a double blessed race, or something along that. Double floaty boy for the win. So with Glad Dummy, and to a lesser extent Timmy, you can actually mash too fast and get a suboptimal damage roll on the dummy. I've had that happen before, unfortunately. But yeah, if you mash too fast on the dummy, you can get less than 5 damage, which requires you to do another turn on it. With Timmy, it's not so much, but it's still possible to one hit to two-turn them. So after the Timmy, now we get the second half round starting. Just a reminder that Samuel is currently at 9 kills, Link will be at 7. So Link is technically a full encounter behind, but depending on what Samuel gets in their other two non-scripted encounters, they might actually be able to not lose a lot of time. Unless they're going to flee the Aaron here, which would be interesting to see if they do. Nope, they're not. So Link is going to flee the Aaron, so that's going to put them at 10, and after this Samuel will be at 13. So if Samuel gets another mold Washua here, they'll be at 15. And yep, looks like they did. So they're at 15 now, and if they get another mold Washua, then a single Timmy, that's actually getting perfect with Snowden full RNG. I don't know why I said Snowden. Link unfortunately getting a 2-turn on the mold big there, which can happen if you're not accurate enough with your damage roll. Although they do get another mold Washua there, so that's going to put them at 14, I believe. So Samuel getting another mold Washua, so this is a really good RNG for them. So ideally in the next room now, they would want to get a single Timmy, since it's basically a quick kill. It's basically an insta kill really at this point. Link getting a Washua Aaron, so that's not the best encounter for them, but it's still a double, which puts them at 16 now, I believe. Samuel getting another mold Washua, so that's kind of unfortunate, but at least they'll be at 18 now, I believe. So they can optionally flee this encounter. Oh. Gonna kill it anyways, because why not? So Looks like the way Link's progressing through here, they might be at 16, I'm not sure. And they get a wash or Aaron, which is again less than optimal. Because even at level 10 and with a maximum hit with the shoes, you still cannot one phase Aaron. 7. Looks like Link is progressing, so they've gotten their 18 kills, which is good. So a little bit of a gap opening up there for Samuel, because obviously getting the one less that they needed to. Coming up with Undyne, there is an option. Oh, Sam not even opting for the save there, let alone the heal. Going in all in here, I guess. So with Undyne, there is actually a quick kill that you can get on Undyne if you get enough critical hits with these shoes. If I remember correctly, you have to get 30 critical hits minimum across a maximum of 14 turns. And as long as your damage rolls are good without... If you don't get all criticals, as long as you get good damage rolls, I believe it's something along the lines of you have to average about 1640, 1650 per turn normally. So the more perfect hits you get, the better. But obviously, as long as you're above that average, then quick kill should still be possible. It does save about 15 seconds. So it looks like we're getting a good start from Samuel, and Link about to start the encounter as well. So I don't know exactly too much about this, but there's apparently an actual advanced Undyne quick kill, which essentially I think is if you get all critical hits, then you actually possibly save another turn. I'm not sure, but it's never really been seen on the side. I mean, I've heard something about it once before, but I don't know exactly what it is. So, Samuel's currently at 10 crits out of 12. 30 out of 15. Oh, they do have an unfortunate step there. But they make it up with another 30 hit. So it looks like they're looking on trade to get quick kill. Don't do too much more damage because obviously they don't heal. Going into the light and not healing or saving. It's looking pretty good to get quick kill though, that's for sure. It's looking more than likely that Samuel's gonna get quick kill here. I don't like people that really notice these things on quick kill space or not. Oh, looks like we've had a little bit of a volume change there, but that is Undyne quick kill. So quick kill itself saves about 15-20 seconds on normal kill, so Isaiah getting a bit more of a lead here. Oh, Link barely missing quick kill on their end, so that's unfortunate. We've actually had a few near misses now for quick kill. It proves how tight the window is to actually get it in terms of getting those critical hits. game was overpowering. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, apologies for my mic. Unless I have it literally right at my mouth, it's usually fairly quiet, so yeah. So I think Samuel's going to go for the pan skip here, which I mentioned earlier. So it works in a way that looks like they got it. Nice. So one of two overflow skips in the game, the other one being the Igloo overflow in Snowden. So how that works is we're interacting with the dog food bag as we're hitting the cutscene trigger at the same time, and because we're actually overflowing the dog food tech storage, we're able to gain movement during the cutscene, which allows us to move to the fridge. But because we're still in the cutscene itself, the game registers another overflow input for the text box from the fridge. And then if we do the right menuing and mashing on top of that, we actually get the instant noodles. But because the burnt pan is the next item in the loot pool, and because with how overflowing items like that works, we actually get the pan as well as the noodles. So I think, yes, we're going to see Link going for it. And unfortunately they don't get it, so Link's going to have to... I think they're going to pick up the noodles here for sure. Yep. And they're going to have to go pick up the pan as well, which is going to lose them a bit more time. So with Hotland, you'll notice that we're not actually getting a lot of kills in Hotland, we're only getting the 5 scripted encounters, which is the Vulcan, Sunderplane, Royal Guards, and Fit. The reason for that is we get the rest of our 35 other kills in Core. Excuse me. And with Core, because again we're getting multiple encounters, we're getting multiple enemies per encounter, it's actually faster to grind out the rest of the encounters in Core. So yeah, we see Link going to get the pan now, and Samuel about to go to left floor 3, because in this ending we don't have to worry about doing the Metaton cutscenes or going through each floor. So it's hard to say at this stage if Samuel's on PB pace, because I can't really compare to their PB at the moment. So with Muffet, obviously you want to get a fairly good hit on them. If you just do what you do with Toriel, Papyrus, and Metaton Neo coming up, it doesn't actually kill them in one shot. You actually have to damage them enough to still one-turn them. Otherwise, obviously, you get a second turn, and obviously with Muffet, the fight kind of drags out a little bit after the first turn. So I want to say this is probably about mid 107 pace, maybe from Samuel. I don't know. Obviously, depending on how Core plays out as well. I'm gonna go with a mid-high 106, if not a low 107 at this point. But then if their Undying Fire was anything to go by, I think Core might just be going well for them. Oh, putting the pan on there, that's good. Otherwise, obviously, makes Core grind a lot harder. So the first 9 encounters you get in Core are all scripted. Obviously, getting the Astigmatism first. Then you get Frogget Whims a lot Astigmatism, and then Frogget Astigmatism. Core skip, if only. So you saw there Samuel got a 108 hit on that Whimsalot, so that shows how forgiving Whimsalot is, but on the contrary, with the Night Magic coming up, you actually have to get a quad kill quad crit hit on it, otherwise it automatically takes 2 turns. And, oh, unfortunate with the astigmatism there, but yeah, you kind of have to get at least a triple hit or a gold hit on astigmatism to one-shot it. So, oh, Link going for the optional heals there. So, if we see a lot more quads from Samuel, then this core ground's going to be fairly easy for them, but obviously on consistency and how many Night Knight magics they get. So there's the quad on the Night Knight. If you can get the quad on the magic, that saves the 2 turns that would normally. As I say that, the first hit just misses, so unfortunately not. But they're still saving that 9 seconds on the first turn for the Night Knight kill. Excuse me. So from here on out, on Samuel's end, everything is going to be completely RNG bait. So we do want to see more triples coming up here because it's faster. However, I think it's a 12% chance for a triple encounter. I believe it's either 18 or 90% for every double encounter and 6% each for a single Night Knight or magic. So speaking of triples, Samuel getting a triple there, which is good. It's taking damage though, which is kind of alarming, but I think they'd be alright. And another whiff on the astigmatism, that's really unfortunate. Going for the Whimsalot first and then killing the Astig after. Interesting call. And as I say that, Link gets the quad on the Night Knight, will they get the quad on the magic and save 2 turns? Or just the 1? Oh, they just missed the 3rd hit, so it's going to be a 2-turn magic, but still saving the 1 turn on the first Night Knight, that's good. Samuel not having much luck with the astigmatisms today. That's the 3rd one that they've whiffed. I mean, it can happen because, again, you need to get at least like a gold hit or a triple hit on the astigmatism to actually kill them in 1 turn. So it's a little bit finicky, but just really unfortunate for Samuel today with that. And as I say that, they get the clear this time, that's good. So again, with core, because there's so many kills that the runners have to get, I actually don't have a track on the numbers. I have to say Samuel's probably at 27 now, maybe? Between 26 and 28, I think. Or probably between 27 and 29, even. So the reason why the runners are only going to grind up to a certain number of kills here is coming up a little bit in the northwest area. There's a set of 7 kills which are all scripted called Warriors Path kills. The reason why we get them last is it's faster that way to have those scripted kills right at the end. Because they're scripted in the sense that they're preset in that location, not like you still have to grind for them. So Samuel getting a triple there. I wonder if they need that to clear or if they're going to flee the whims a lot. I think they'd be at 30. Maybe they're at 32 now, I'm not too sure. Or did I miss something and they moved over early? Hard to say at this point. I'm presuming that they're at 32. But then normally you'd grind for the last encounter before Warrior's Path and a couple of rooms further up. So I'm wondering, maybe they just moved over early because they just leveled up, so that's roughly 31. And they get a Whimsalot Astigmatism to clear, so that's good. Oh, looks like they only needed the one encounter, not the two. So they're going up to Warrior's Path now, and yeah. Fortunately with those first two hits, that would have been a quad crit otherwise, but oh, getting the second turn quad, that's a feels bad, man. That's, you want that first turn, not second. But I guess this is how it goes sometimes. Oh. Good thing this is the last encounter that Samuel has to worry about, otherwise they might have had to have healed. So, looks like a decent core for Samuel, and Link about to go up to Warrior's Path after this encounter. So again, we're getting confirmation that we've done the number of kills that we need to. I didn't see if they equipped the shoes or not, but I'm presuming they did. Alright, there we go. So we put the shoes on because it's the fastest possible attack animation out of all the weapons. So as you can see, we just instantly smack Metaton Neo and he's dead. So now we move on to the last parts of the run, and essentially providing nothing goes wrong for Samuel, and we see a pan quad on the Night Knight there for Link. If they can get the quad on the Magic there, that's another 2 turns they've saved. Ooh, third hit there, unfortunate. So at this point, if nothing else goes wrong for Samuel and they get through the Sands fight cave, this looks like it'll be their race, but obviously not wanting to jinx anything, but anything can happen at Sands, and who knows. Considering how close things were going into Hotland, it's actually an example of how quickly things can turn around in core. As you can see, there's a fairly wide gap opened up between the two runners now because of both their cores respectively. Core grind being one of the make it or break it points usually for most runners, considering how usually it's execution as well as RNG that comes up there. Obviously getting a lot of Night Knight magics doesn't help, but if you're able to quad them, then it usually plays into your hands a lot better. So it's mostly RNG for Link, unfortunately, at this point. So Samuel's doing Flytail at the moment, and it's the one cutscene that you can actually mash through normally. So with any percent in TPE, it's usually Monster Tail that we get, and that's all unskippable text. But for Flower Tail, we can mash through it, and this is where it's actually beneficial to just randomly mash through it rather than doing piano mashing. Because for some reason, the text that comes up at this point is just something you can random mash through instead of having to piano. So Link remembering to put on the shoes, again, doing it after Mediton, which does lose a little bit of time. So now we're at the Me Gunner fight, aka Sans Undertale, and yeah. So it looks like Samuel's made a good start so far in terms of a no-hit. We've seen a few no-heal Sans fights, but I believe we're yet to see a no-hit in this tournament, so I mean, if we do, it's going to be a good thing to see, because no-hits are usually not optimal to go for because of basically movement in the second half for the menu bones. But I'll definitely say this is a no-heal for sure. Samuel's doing a good job of dodging those blasters there, those can be a bit tricky. I think this is the last attack before the end of the first half for Samuel, so yep. Perfect first half. Are we going to see the same in the second half, hopefully? Hopefully I haven't just jinxed it. So these blasters here are kind of hard to dodge given their random hit appearance. Oh! And a little bit of damage at the end, so there goes no hit, unfortunately. But this is still a really impressive fight nonetheless. So with the attack you see on Samuel's screen now with the 4-direction wall slam, well, I think they're doing it manually, but if you have a keyboard that has anti-ghosting on it, you can actually hold down all 4 arrow keys and it'll actually automatically dodge all the attacks. Another set of blaster attacks, which is kind of awkward to dodge, but oh, I say that, there's a little bit of damage there. The good thing is Samuel still has the noodles to heal with if they so choose at the end of this part of the fight, going into the final attack. Because there's a turn before where they can still do the normal heal and obviously it adds on an extra turn, but if they want to be safe, then there is still an option to do that. A little bit more damage there. This should still be okay. Oh, they're taking a lot of damage from the blasters here. And that's that. They've made it through the attack with admittedly a little less health than I thought they would have, but obviously that's just how it goes sometimes. They did still manage to beat Sans, so at this point, as long as nothing catastrophic happens to Samuel's game, this is basically at this point GG's. So, all the post-match dialogue coming up from Sans at the moment. Can't really skip it, we just have to go through with it. And obviously, it's interesting to note where Samuel's positioned at the moment. So, if they were to go all the way to the left side of the box, it would actually Sans would actually spawn their soul back in the very center of the box. So, being positioned where they are is actually the perfect spot for them, because once we actually start to move the text box or the soul box, whatever you want to call it, it's actually the best position we can be in, so we can actually start moving it straight away. Looks like Link is just about to start the final blaster attack there on the last part of the fight. And oh, getting a bit close there, but not really touching. There we go. So I believe on Samuel's screen we're just waiting for the Sans to go to sleep now. If we go to move before he's asleep, he wakes up and again spawns us right in the very middle of the box, which actually loses a lot of time, because if you do that just before he goes to sleep, he actually fully wakes up again and has to go through all the stages of going back to sleep. So good thing Samuel didn't move too early. I want to say this is going to be a mid-high 106, because it's about 2.5 to 3 minutes from here to the end of the run. Hey, Papyrus, do you want anything? And you hear the off-screen death noise of Sans, so Sans is dead. Crabgrave. Yeah, it's usually about 2 minutes 40-ish from that doorway to the end of the run, so this is probably a high 106, low 107 maybe. I was a little bit off with my estimate. And something you don't get to see a lot often in this game, an actual Taz score where it's one turn. Actually, I lied, it's not a true one turn because he's not actually dead yet. Because Flowey decides to jump in and steal the kill. Because now Flowey is trying to convince us to not completely obliterate them from existence. It was all a trick, see? It's me, your best friend. So I don't know if we'll be getting Samuel in for post-match discussion. I believe Link will probably be coming in. Obviously, one last cutscene for Samuel to get through, and then it's time for them. Thank you. Your power awakened me from death. My human soul, my determination. They were not mine, but yours. At first, I was so confused. Our plan had failed, hadn't it? Why was I brought back to life? You, with your guidance. I realized the purpose of my reincarnation. Power. Together, we eradicated the weak, the enemy, and became strong. HP, attack, defense, gold, EXP, LV. Every time a number increases, that feeling. That's me. S. Now we have reached the absolutes. There is nothing left for us here. Let us erase this pointless world and move on to the next. 107 flat for Samuel, not bad in a race setting. Oh, going for the jump scare ending. Sam's PB, I believe, was 105.57, so just over a minute off PB, which, again, for a race setting, isn't actually too bad. And literal frames off of 106 as well. So again, I'm not sure if Samuel is joining the Discord for a post-game discussion. If not, that's completely fine. But obviously GG to Samuel with the 107 flat and the win. And now we see Link about to start the same cutscene. Yeah. Since when were you the one in control? Too spoopy for me. So, looks like in the other race that's going on at the same time, we see both of the runners and finish the final attack. It's actually a fairly close race over there. So, now Link's about to finish up. I think there's only the 2 text boxes left. And of course, because it's all on text, we can't do anything about it. And that's time for Link as well. We'll be getting them in here in just a little bit, hopefully, to get both details.
Hello?
Hello.
That was something.
That was a 109.16, correct?
Yes.
So I believe that's another PB for you in the space of 2 races. Not bad.
Yeah, 108 tomorrow.
Hmm?
I'm getting 108 tomorrow in my race.
Oh, hopefully that happens. Because I saw core was a little bit iffy, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it can be like that sometimes. Um, any thoughts or any comments you want to add to this real quick? I don't think we're getting Samuel in here, so probably just do a quick discussion and then wrap things up.
Well, there were a lot of bad parts in the run, but it was a PB, so I can't really complain. Like, I miss Burnt Pan. That would have probably been a 108 if I got it, but
I mean, just think of it this way: there's time saved for next run.
yeah.
And yeah, GG's to both runners. Yeah, Samuel with the 107 flat, taking it today, but Link with the impressive PB, so making improvements every race, which is good. And yeah, hopefully we will see that 108 tomorrow. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add, or?
GG, Sam. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. So there's nothing else happening tonight, but I believe tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow at 2 p.m. we have Yisk versus Bradley 0104 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then at 5 p.m. tomorrow at EST we have Link against Drakadan in the next matchup. So I'm sure both of those will be interesting races to watch, and hopefully there's a lot of entertainment coming up as well with those for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves today. Sorry if I'm sounding a little bit out of it. I'm actually starting to feel a little bit drained myself. So yeah, again, two very interesting races and two very exciting races coming up tomorrow. And again, if you guys enjoyed watching this race, do make sure to come back and continue to follow the tournament, because this is just the beginning. This is just early stages. Again, thanks SpeedGaming for having us, and GG to Sam and Link on the race today.
Thank you.
I guess on that note, we'll wrap things up here, and I'll just say see you guys tomorrow, hopefully.
See ya.